To celebrate the 20th anniversary of ISC Squared, the founders and early contributors to the organization were gathered together in April 2009 for the first time since the dawning days of the organization. ISC Squared's story is a testament to the foresight, energy, and persistence of this small group of industry pioneers who logged long hours as volunteers to see the vision of a new profession and a new era come to fruition. The need for qualified and skilled professionals to manage and staff information security programs is now embraced fully by organizations worldwide, and the formation of a highly respected certifying body was one of the catalysts to making this important change. In addition to honoring the founders' vision and tireless dedication at a formal dinner, they were also interviewed before the festivities regarding their recollections and insights into the formation of the organization, its early struggles, the profession today, and the future of ISC Squared. This is part one of a 4-part interview compilation and is a brief look at why the organization was founded.
This was a new industry at the time, just started up really in the late 70s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. And there was hardly any record of achievement in that particular area. And so in order to get a job in security, people oftentimes went to the library and found out what security items there were and then wrote down, oh, that's how I do that and that and that. So they weren't really describing their own experience. They were inventing resume information and people were buying it.
We were mostly a bunch of people with a common interest that would get together and as much as anything, it was a way of networking. Our ambitions were to learn from others. I think we thought, and certainly I think that Rick Koenig thought there was a way to have a more formal networking approach in this, but the conferences, the Computer Security Institute ran annual conferences, and that was certainly a way of staying in touch and starting to build, when you say what is a profession, well, if it's a medical profession, you've got to have examinations and dentists have to do things like that. So that maybe starts to define a profession. A profession is a body of knowledge. And so there were the roots. And yes, I think, I don't know how far we expected to go, but I did think we expected to make an impact and be recognized on the scene.
They would all of a sudden notice that there were all kinds of people practicing in their space who weren't quite up to snuff. And it reflected badly on everybody. So we wanted to create a nice space in which to work, one in which we could respect our colleagues, have confidence in their competence and ability, to recognize that competition would be fair, that people wouldn't be out there trying to get business by seeing who could tell the biggest lie. And in a space as sensational as this one, there was always that potential. So it was all about professionalism.
It was worthy of defining the field. We were all in it full-time at that point in time, but I guess our concern was that a lot of our recommendations weren't taken to heart. We could use more credibility.
We were very fortunate that the people who got involved in making it happen were very highly motivated people who were actually interested in the greater good. You could not look at any of the founders and say that they thought this was going to be a get-rich-quick scheme or that this was in any way going to be for their personal benefit. This was a very, very hard, it had to be a labor of love or you wouldn't have been in it.
We didn't know how many people were out there that could be certified or that should be certified. So we were all thinking, what is it? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people? Maybe 5,000 or 6,000. Who knows? There were no metrics. Mm-hmm. And no one had done a survey to decide, or to give us a scope. And so, needless to say, I think none of us were thinking as large as ISC Squared has become.
We were struggling. What were we going to call this thing? And I knew that we had system security and certification we had with Consortium. And so all we had to come up with was international information and say, hey, we can do this. And so I came up with it. And I think people have cursed me since then. It's not the shortest or the easiest name in the world, but I kind of like the symmetry of it.
I've been working with other organizations and looking for the acronym and how the internet play works, so I identified the alliteration in the name, and squared sort of has a techie feel to it.
Oh, yeah.
And people immediately gravitate towards it, and it becomes a much more definable and distinctive brand.
Stay tuned for part 2 of the ISC Squared Founders interviews on the early challenges of the organization.